All right. Let me just talk. All right. Okay. All right. In three, two, one. In three, two, one. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Record Sports High School Football Preview. My name is Austen Gregerson. I'll be joining you solo tonight as Cody Urbacher, our sports editor, takes the night off. And this is an interesting week. This is one of the last non-district weeks we'll have for the rest of the year. Week 10 or 11, I should say, will also be like that. But we have 4 local games this week, none of them in district matchups. We only have one instance of a county versus county team. But we'll get started off with some of the non-county matchups, including St. Augustine traveling out to Clay. St. Augustine, of course, at 5-1 on the year, bouncing back wonderfully after their opening loss to Trinity Christian. They're facing a pretty interesting Clay team in that at 3-3, you can't really quite figure out what they are as far as what the competition is going to be coming in every week. Because on one hand, they have a very good win over Ponte Vedra, and then on the other hand, they're coming off of a pretty bad loss to Ridgeview. So what that means for St. Augustine and why I think that kind of plays into their favor is that St. Augustine has proven for the past 5 weeks that they are a very consistent team, that they have found an identity, that they trust Cole Northrup to play quarterback, that they have a strong running game, arguably the strongest in the county. And I think that's going to be able to get them over the hump in a spot that's really tough to play. Clay, I've been out there a few times, and it's a really good atmosphere for football unless you're the opposing team. But we'll see what happens Friday. Next game on the list is Menendez at Nice, which is one of the 2, I should say, county matchups we have this week. Non-district 5A versus 6A. With Menendez, I think this is going to be an interesting matchup in the sense that you have a very strong running team in Menendez. I know I just mentioned St. Augustine, but Trevon Bryant and Steph Carter might be I would say, are the best quarterback, running combo in the county. Very effective, and that's how they're going to win all of their games this year and how they're making such a strong showing at 3-2 on the season. You look at Nice, they're the passing team. They want to stretch it out with Justin Lee and Justin Johnson, and that's how they're going to win games. But I think it plays into Menendez's favor because they have a little bit more talent as far as athletically goes, especially on the defensive side with Willie Harvey. But that running game is going to be able to let them control the clock a lot more and not get so many opportunities for Nice to pass, or at least that's what I think is going to happen. We'll see, of course, when they play on tomorrow. Yeah, this comes out on Thursday. Taping on a Wednesday, all the TV magic that a single camera can't really show. Thirdly, we have Creekside at Ridgeview. Creekside 3-3. They're coming off a win, which means if this season meant anything, they're going to lose this week because they've lost one, won one, lost one, won one. But luckily for the Knights, they're playing Ridgeview, who at 2-4 really only has the one win against Clay to kind of put a feather in their cap. Everything else has been pretty one-sided, including a pretty bad loss to St. Augustine in week 2. And Creekside, I do like what they have in their running backs. They have a trio of running backs that are very effective with Brian Rivera and a few other guys who are slipping my mind at the moment. But I was at their game against Matanzas, and they were impressive. I mean, running the ball wherever they wanted to. Granted, the Pirates were a little bit shorthanded as far as talent goes, but against a Ridgeview team that really hasn't shown a lot this season, I think it's still going to line up pretty well for the Knights, especially when you look at how St. Augustine beat them, which was on the ground, which was using their running backs effectively, and I think with Rivera and company, I do think that's going to continue, and hopefully for the first time this year, the Knights get a winning record, but we'll see. And finally, I'd say this is the most intriguing matchup of the week. We have Bartram Trail at Ponte Vedra, 2 teams who are very desperate for a loss. On one hand, you have Bartram, who shockingly is 0-5. Then you have Ponte Vedra, who at 2-3, it's still very much in contention in the district race, has lost their last 3 straight games. So what does that mean? Both teams are desperate. How that acts out on Friday is going to be kind of fun to see. I'll be at that game personally. And on one hand, you have offense, PJ Blazkowski, And then on the other hand, you have Dylan Bates, the defense. We'll see if Joe Carter comes back for that game because he was out against St. Augustine, and you saw what his absence did as far as moving Dylan Bates inside at middle linebacker where he's not at his best. He's an outside guy. He likes to track guys down, whereas Joe Carter likes to be the middle, likes to be the run stopper and allow Dylan Bates to kind of move a little bit more freely where where offensive just can't focus on him and just try to run away from him. So that'll do it for this week. We're getting into some of the buys, some of the scheduling as we get down the season. One thing I will add, though, about Bartram Trail is that even at 0-5, they are still very much in the hunt for a playoff spot. They only have one district loss to St. Augustine. They could easily lose this game against Ponte Vedra and still go 3-1 if they do well in their district and really make it a pretty interesting team, make themselves pretty interesting in the playoffs. Because whenever you're able to score points, I think that makes you dangerous no matter what. And Bartram Trail has proven week in and week out that they can score points. It's just a matter of scoring more points in the end, which has been the problem for them. That'll do it for me. Again, my name is Austen Gregerson. You can follow me on Twitter at avgregerson or hit us up online at staugustine.com/sports. And I'm done.